Let's have a go at this exam style question. The question says, the plant epidermal cell in figure 1 is magnified 250 times. And there's an image of a cell given there. Calculate the width of the epidermal cell in micrometers. This one is the unit for micrometers. Complete the following steps. Measure the width of the cell using a ruler. Use the equation to work out the real width of the cell in millimeters, and you're given the equation. And finally, convert to micrometers. Now let's start by identifying important information in the question. And I always like to start by looking for the command word. And I can see over here we've got the word calculate. And that command word means that we need to use the numbers given in the question to work out the answers. So let's look for what numbers we're given. And I can see up here in the first sentence it says the plant epidermal cell in figure 1 is magnified 250 times. And remember, the magnification is how much bigger the image is than the real object. Now figure 1 shows the image of a plant epidermal cell, and we can see that they've marked their points A and B to indicate the widest part of the cell. Now don't worry too much if you don't know what an epidermal cell is and you haven't heard of it or can't recall. It's actually just the outermost layer of the cell or plant cell. But even if it was a different cell type, the process to answer the question is exactly the same, so don't let that throw you. The question is asking us to calculate the width of the plant epidermal cell in micrometers, which is a unit you should be familiar with. But just as a reminder, a micrometer is 1/1000th of a millimetre, so we're talking about really tiny measurements here. The cells are really, really small, so we need a microscope, such as a light microscope, to magnify and view them. So we can measure a magnified image of a cell and then use the magnification to work out the actual size of the part that we're measuring. And that's what this question is asking us to do. So parts A, B and C of this question are taking us through the steps we need to go through to find out the width of this cell in micrometers. Now the first step is quite straightforward. It's asking us to measure the width of the cell using a ruler. Now I'm using an app that won't actually allow me to do this, but I'm sure you're able to do that. All you're going to need to do is hold up a ruler that's divided into millimeters and make sure you're carefully measuring from the end of this arrowhead here at A, so from there all the way across to B. Okay, now if you actually measure that, and I did beforehand, I found that it was 42 millimeters. Okay, so that's the answer that goes in here. So 42 millimeters is the width in figure 1. Okay, on to part B. Use the equation to work out the real width of the cell in millimeters. Okay, so what we're going to need to do here is do a bit of substitution. So we're given the equation, and so we know this bit here of the equation is asking us for the image size. So we've just measured that, haven't we? So I'm just going to write it over here. We know the image size is 42. It's always good to show your workings, I think. Okay, and we need to divide that by the magnification. And the magnification, remember, we had up here, didn't we? So that was 250. So I shall just write that in there. Now, if you do that on a calculator, 42 divided by 250, you should find out that it works out to be 0.168. Now, so that's the real size that we've just worked out there in millimeters. So I need to remember just to put my answer over here, 0.168 millimeters. Now, the final part of the question, we're being asked to convert the answer into micrometers. Okay, so remember 1 millimeter is 1000 micrometers. So we need to multiply our measurement in millimeters by 1000. And so if I do that, I'll show my workings over here. So I need to do 0.168 and I multiply that by 1000, you might be able to do this in your head, but if not, you could always do it on the calculator. That would make 168. And that's actually given us the measurement in micrometers now. So we put 168 over here in the right space. Now, as this is a multi-step calculation, the mark scheme has a really small amount of flexibility. So if, for example, you measured in figure 1 that it was 41 millimetres, not 42, and you'd made the correct calculations based on that measurement, you'd still be awarded the mark. But as with any exam-style question that involves calculations and substitutions of numbers into an equation, you really do need to look at the units being asked for. Okay, so if you've answered those 3 parts, you would get the 3 marks.